Well, today is Monday, June 29th, and I am happy, privileged to welcome my dear friend and my brother, Larry Johnson, with his CIA background to help us analyze what is going on in the world. And as you know, we have come into existence very recently, but we are very grateful to you for supporting us. We have received very significant support from all of you all over the world, and soon we will be in all 12 major languages, maybe as of a week from now. So our voices will be heard everywhere, and our the reason we came into existence is that we have been privileged to be provided with the news that drives the news, and we bring it to you. And not only that, we bring to you experts that are true experts, such as Larry Johnson and Pepe Escobar. Also, in a different category, different perspective, Vijay Prasad, and there are others who will be joining us who have the independent ability to understand and analyze the news that is happening as well as the news that we provide to you. So, with that introduction, I give it to you, Larry. Go ahead.
Well, thanks. I'll call you Dr. Z. Makes you sound like a character out of a James Bond film.
Okay.
Uh,
Happy to be Dr. C.
we've seen over the weekend for the first open violation of the MOU by the United States. The way it's being played in the West is if trying to portray Iran as the violator, but that's absolutely not the case. Iran was in the MOU granted authority for determining the safe passage of ships out of the Strait of Hormuz. That's paragraph 5 of that document. It's quite explicit. There's no should be no confusion about it whatsoever. That when you look at the when you look at the details that are contained, it doesn't say that Iran, along with Oman or the other Gulf countries, will come to agreement. It's very plain that it is Iran alone that has that authority under that MOU, and not even the United States asserts a right to interfere in that decision. Iran's decision was been made based upon what's called the Persian Gulf Strait Authority protocols that were issued about 4 weeks ago, and then it stipulated what procedures countries are supposed to follow that wanting to bring ships through the strait. Last Friday, the UK Maritime Trade Organization tried to sneak one through and encouraged a ship called the Ever Lovely to try to go through the strait. Um, Iran hit it with a drone. And in response to that, the United States decided that it was going to attack Iran. Now, again, there is not a one prohibition in the entire MOU against Iran acting against ships that are violating what Iran considers its territorial waters. And there's nothing in there stipulating that the United States has any right of enforcement. In fact, the only thing in the MOU that is stipulated is that the United States is going to stop attacking Iran and stop making threats against Iran. Well, the U.S. violated both of those on Friday. In response to that, Iran carried out what I'll call a symbolic retaliation. It really was not significant militarily. And it turns out that what the U.S. military attacks also were more symbolic than actually substantive in terms of really inflicting damage on Iran. This followed on Saturday by two more ships trying to transit the strait along the Omani coast, and again Iran intervening. One of those ships was accompanied by, said U.S. air escort. I don't know exactly how you can escort a ship that's going 12 knots per hour while the aircraft are flying at 300 knots per hour, but that's a whole nother issue. But anyway, Iran fired on those ships, and then in the course of that, launched an attack on the air base, the U.S. Naval the headquarters for the U.S. Naval Fleet in Bahrain, the Fifth Fleet. That led to another U.S. Act strikes against Iran, and Iran again retaliated by unleashing pretty heavy bombing and missile and drone strikes on an airbase in Kuwait, the Al Ali Al Salam, and then the Al Isa Air Base in Bahrain. But there were no U.S. aircraft based there. So at that point, you say, what's going to happen next? Is the United States going to retaliate and escalate this? The U.S. did not escalate. The U.S. backed down. And I think there are a couple of reasons for it backing down. Number one, the United States is in the process of withdrawing its forces from the region. Now, one of the objectives in the creation of a new security architecture for the Persian Gulf is the removal of U.S. military forces and U.S. military bases from the Gulf countries. We are informed, I'd say reliably informed, thanks to the work of Dr. Z, that the Saudis and the Qataris have both indicated to the United States that they should vacate any bases that they currently occupy or have personnel posted to within the next 9 to 10 months. Now, the base in Qatar at Al Udeid, it's what's noteworthy about that is really the main activity there was known as the Combined Air Operations Center, the CAOC. The CAOC, after the start of the war on February 28th, was hit, and it has subsequently been relocated to Shaw Air Force Base in South Carolina. So the U.S., for all practical purposes, has actually pulled out of Al Udeid. The number of personnel that used to be based there have been drawn down substantially. I would argue that what you have there really now is a token force, not a significant force. The same can be said for U.S. presence in Saudi Arabia. So as the backdrop of this conflict between the United States and Iran, we are seeing that there is, while the United States has not declared that it's closing the Fifth Fleet headquarters or that it's closing Al Udeid or that it's going to completely withdraw from the Prince Saud Air Base in Saudi Arabia, the practical reality is that the U.S. has pulled out its forces. So we're beginning to enter an era in which the Gulf countries will have to consider going forward without a protective umbrella from the United States. But as they've seen over the course of the last 4 months, this umbrella of the United States is not a protector. In fact, it's a magnet for missiles,
Yes.
a magnet for missiles and drones.
Yes.
And
Yes. Just the opposite.
yeah, the Saudis and Qataris are going, I don't think we like this anymore. So that's where we stand now. Is the United States has requested talks. They're portraying to say, Iran called us up and wants to talk in Doha, so we'll go hear them out. Now, it's the United States that wants to meet. They're trying to keep this charade or charade, however you like to pronounce it, of an MOU going forward. But I think there is growing political pressure inside Iran to walk away from it. But we'll see what pans out in the next couple of days.
Well, can I say what I know, Larry, or do you want to say some more?
No, go ahead. Yes.
Well, Larry, thank you very much for the introduction. And I did not say this earlier when I made the introduction, but if you like what we do, we kindly request that you hit subscribe and you hit like, because that is how the algorithmic gods of YouTube recognize who we are. and bring this content to everybody. So please do subscribe and hit if you like what we do. Uh, Please understand the global audience to whom this is addressed that there is a layer of news that is publicly available and unfortunately varnished by the corporate media. So you don't even see that, but you see some version of it in legacy media. And then there is analysis that is provided by people who have a better understanding of what is going on. Now, over here, the reason we did this is because we have the ability to obtain some information that is privileged, that is trusted to us. This is information we vouch for. This is information on which we stand, and it has been proven to be accurate. And we not only obtain that and bring it, but we bring it to experts like Larry, like Pepe, who who have a world of experience in analyzing this, and they present that information to you. So it goes through a multiple set of layers before you hear it, and you hear exactly what is going on in the world. So from what I know, and I've shared this with Larry before we got here, there has been a tremendous pressure on Iran to walk out. In fact, the first time the White House ordered strikes, Iran immediately said, "We're not going to be bound by the MOU that we signed after so much effort." But there has been a tremendous effort by the Pakistanis who have played a very significant role, and through a character that not many people know, Mohsin Naqvi, who is an interior minister in Pakistan. People hear about Field Marshal Munir. Obviously, Munir has played a very important part in all of this. People hear about Shehbaz Sharif, Prime Minister, because he's the head of the government from that point of view. But there is a character by the name of Mohsin Naqvi. Mohsin Naqvi, uh, his, his son-in-law, is the head of 40 million Shias in Pakistan, highly respected, highly regarded by the Shia community in Iran. So he has been dispatched by Pakistan repeatedly and was dispatched very recently to have talks with his Iranian counterparts, namely the head of IRGC, namely the Speaker of the Parliament. These are all the powers to be, and also the Supreme Leader. Not as extensively because the Supreme Leader relies upon the council of these other people, and they have been advised to not walk out. And in fact, they are not going to walk out. They are going to slow walk this. They are not going to say that, yes, we are walking out, or no, we are not walking out. We have announced on this channel before that they are going to have, the Iranians are going to have a victory celebration of having obtained a strategic victory over the United States in the funeral procession that is going to be underway very soon, where they're going to bury Ali Khamenei, the father of the present supreme leader, in the holiest, one of the holiest of Shia Islamic sites in Mashhad. That is going to happen in the next couple of days. And there is going to be a delegation there from all over the world, but the most important delegation in terms of the negotiations with the United States would be the delegation that arrives from Pakistan. The Prime Minister, other heads of state, the Field Marshal, who are going to be there ostensibly to join the funeral talks and so forth, and condolences. But they're going to have very important talks with the Iranian leadership, and it is something that I am privileged to provide to you as very valuable news. This is not going to be felt in such a way immediately, but it is going to change the entire region from a geopolitical point of view. Saudi Arabia, most importantly, has been solidly behind Pakistan and urging Pakistan and Iran through Pakistan that the time has come for the United States to get out of here, literally get out of here. And we will see this happen in the next 6 to 9 months. Not only in Saudi Arabia, in Qatar, in Oman, and it is our expectation in Iran as well, in the UAE as well, maybe a little bit later. Now, not known to the world, Pakistan has played a very important role in bringing Iran and UAE together. There have been talks, some of them secret, between the foreign ministers of UAE and Iran. And the result of that you can see, is the resumption of air travel. Very significant, very, very significant that Iran and UAE are going to have air travel between those two countries. But more important than that is that air travel will resume to Dubai. Dubai without air travel is nothing. It's a plastic city in the middle of a desert if there are no visitors there. So the fact that UAE and Iran can come together with Pakistan as a midwife making this happen is extraordinarily significant, because it is going to change again the nature of the geopolitics in the nation, in the entire region, and in the world. Whatever Trump does now has absolutely no meaning at all. He can have his tantrums. He can make these strikes. They are pinpricks, and they're not going to change the outcome of what is about to happen. I bring it to you, Larry.
Yeah. So this the burial and the ceremony surrounding the internment of the Ayatollah Khamenei, the late Ayatollah Khamenei, will actually be a distraction, because, as I understand it, the ceremonies and observances will start around July 2nd. So we're looking at Thursday, and will continue for at least a week, to at least July 9, July 11. So why is that important? That because it's during that time that essentially Iran is not going to be engaged with the United States necessarily on any negotiation track. Iran will continue to enforce the protocols in the Strait of Hormuz. So, along with that enforcement comes the risk that the United States may again try to carry out attacks on Iran. And let's not forget that both between the United States and Mossad in Israel, that they will continue to support and stir up Kurdish attacks against Iranian border police and border forces. So this will the West will do everything in its power, I believe, to make sure that the internment of the Ayatollah is not a peaceful, quiet event. There will be attempts to disrupt it from the outside. The 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 other sort of there are two other issues that are going to become potentially salient. One is the appearance that Saudi Arabia is getting ready to engage the Houthis. That's how the media is portraying it. But the fact of the matter is, this is more of a Saudi confrontation with the United Arab Emirate and the faction that the Emiratis support in Yemen, as opposed to the faction that the Saudis support. So the gathering of Saudi forces on the border with Yemen has more to do with the United Arab Emirate, less to do with the Houthis. That said, the Houthis have activated and organized a potential response force that they've sort of called up their reserves, so that there is always the possibility that there could be a renewal of conflict in the outbreak of the civil war in Yemen. If it remains confined to United Arab Emirates versus the Saudis, that will not disrupt the peace process. if in fact it puts reignites the strains between the Saudis and Iran, yes, that would be a direct challenge that Pakistan would be, trying to contain, because that could derail the entire MOU process and peace process. So uh, it is a volatile situation. The We did also have the action by the Supreme Council yesterday in Iran that should not be ignored or taken lightly. Over 2/3 of the members of that Supreme Council, it's a religious council, but they basically uh, put the Arachi and Ghalibaf on notice that the terms of the MOU are to be strictly adhered to, and that if the United States refuses to adhere to it, that the Iranian officials should take appropriate action up to and including withdrawing from the process. So again, that is another factor that has entered into the equation.
You went silent.
So what?
You had gotten silent. I thought that maybe you went on mute.
Yeah, no. I finished what I had to say on
Okay,
that.
okay. Well, that's a very, very valuable analysis, Larry. And what I have to add to that, based on my perspective and my contacts and so forth, and the privilege I have to some of the information that does not, purple that does not come to the surface, is that Pakistan has been extraordinarily engaged while the world is looking at all this chaos, particularly with Mohsin Naqvi, who is highly respected. Not to mention that Field Marshal and Field Marshal Asim Munir and Shahbaz Sharif have been equally in touch with the Iranian leadership. Nothing is going to happen until Ali Khamenei is interned in Mashhad. Nothing significant is going to happen. I can assure you of that based upon everything I know. I'm not God. I'm not Nostradamus. I cannot predict the future, but this is what I know. I know that they do not plan on doing any such thing. I also know that the United States, that Saudi Arabia is really, really pissed at Trump. KS MBS is pissed at Trump, and MBS wants Trump out of Saudi Arabia, and Pakistan is holding Saudi Arabia's hands and will make this transition happen. This is going to happen. This is not something that will be patched up again. This is going to happen, and when that happens, Saudi Arabia, being the heavyweight in the region from a financial point of view, is going to impact Qatar, impact Oman, impact UAE also, with Pakistan emerging as the muscle, and both of them now intricately bound in this defense agreement, which has a NATO type clause in it, which has become more and more stronger. There is going to be a realignment, geopolitical realignment in that part of the world, which will absolutely, without doubt, impact us in the West. Now, how it impacts from a financial standpoint, because this is something that I know a few things about, having been part of the post, uh, you know, uh, World War II arrangements that came into place, Bretton Woods. U.S. is going to have great difficulty dealing with this $40 trillion in debt. Great difficulty, and having Iran emerge as a regional power in that region, with other Central Asian countries joining in, such as Azerbaijan, such as Turkey, such as Egypt, is going to make that a very significant part of the world, particularly because China is standing right behind it. The world is not going to be the same 5 years from today as we know it now and as we have known it for the last 40 years. I bring it back to you, Larry.
Well, I think one of the central issues with respect to the control of the Strait of Hormuz is the global economic impact. So, for starters, the we're now entering the fifth month with basically the effective closure of the strait, or very, very limited traffic in the strait. Now, much of the focus has been on oil, and oil is a significant consideration in terms of losing 20% of the global supply. And there are a lot of stories circulating claiming that there's been smuggling of oil. Uh, I think these are delusional people because the actual wells in the Gulf Arab countries were damaged in many cases. And so it's just not a simple matter of flipping an on switch and having it flow out. But when you look at the shortages that were imposed as well from the loss of helium, and that's estimated, I've seen estimates ranging from 33% to 44% of the global supply. And as a result of that, the price of helium has more than doubled. And helium is a critical component in the production of computer chips. So basically, if you have reduced supply of helium, that means you're going to have a reduced supply of computer chips, which means the price for those computer chips is going to go up, not down. And we have already seen that with Apple announcing that its top line iPhone, the Apple 17 Max Pro, that's going to cost upwards of $200 more than normal, and that for the MacBook Pro at the top line, $300 more. That's just from the cost of that helium. Similar effects with sulfur, and sulfur is used both in the production of fertilizer, but it's also used in the production of metal processing. And again, the cost on that doubled, and the same with urea. So what we're looking at is a global economic shock of higher inflation. Inflation caused because these critical commodities are now available, but only at a higher price, and that higher price is driven primarily by scarcity, not by growing demand per se, but the combination of less supply, equal or increasing demand is a recipe that you're going to have an inflationary shock that will go around the world. And then with respect to the United States, it is literally running on empty when it comes to the choice between diesel fuel and jet fuel. The odds are high that the United States may face a real crisis on that front within the next 3 to 4 weeks. That was one of the reasons why Trump wanted to get the Strait of Hormuz open so quickly under the MOU. But what Iran has been doing is, instead of they're not shipping the oil to the United States, Iran's oil is going to China and to other countries in Asia, to Singapore, South Korea, in India as well. And instead of selling it for dollars, they're selling it and accepting payment in Chinese currency. So what we're seeing is the continued emergence of this new world order, a new world economic order that is going to be accompanied by a new world political and military order in the Persian Gulf.
I could not have said it better, Larry. I could not have said it better. And I just want to add one thing, that China is standing right behind that, providing all the support that it needs to provide for everybody to know that this is backed not only by the political moves that are taking place, which somebody can see and some cannot, but also the by the commercial might and by the industrial might and by the military might of China.
Yeah.
I mean, not as a hegemon, not replacing the US as a hegemon, but replacing the US as a net provider of security in the face of Pakistan,
Right.
which it has done. So I think we covered a lot, and I thank you very much for your Monday session, as
Yeah.
now have made it a regular feature of our transition protocol. Tomorrow we will have Pepe Escobar take up this conversation, and on Wednesday we will have a joint session between Pepe and Larry and myself. And we thank you for your support. Our last joint session, I just was informed, has crossed 300,000 views worldwide, and that is just very, reassuring to us that there is an appetite for this kind of news. So
Well,
I
and before we leave, just hit that like and subscribe button. Uh, put a smile on Dr. Z's face, please.
thank you very, very much.
All
Thank
right,
you
my
very.
friend. Thank you.
Yeah, yeah. Just don't. I'm gonna hit stop right now. So just one